I should settle for first place, of course. Anybody that had settled for less is crackers.
Yes.
Because I heard Cherie Blair was being lined up for a Baroness title. So I thought, what on earth for? If she can get a title, the world's gone mad. I'll make me own up. So from now on, I am Sir Roland Rat, MBE, OBE, NBC, GCSE. I mean, Terry's got one.
Three waiting again for the cross from Price. Stapleton. Oh, Pat Rice in there. Brady won it beautifully. Look at that! Oh, look at that! Smith, Dixon. Acrobatics, but it comes for Smith. It's a goal for Arsenal. Alan Smith, a super strike for the Gunners. A mistake in the Palmer defence and very heavily punished indeed.
I should settle for first place, of course. Anybody that had settled for less is crackers.
Already signs of Arsenal looking more positive in these early minutes of the second half. Bergkamp dragging the ball back. Still Bergkamp. Well, it's an exquisite goal from a player who is really in peak form at the moment. The final season at Roker Park, but there won't have been many better goals scored down the years on this ground than the one from Dennis Bergkamp here for Arsenal.
Good ball by Dixon, finding Smith. But Thomas charging through the midfield. Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas, right at the end. An unbelievable climax to the league season. Deep one. Quinn hoping to get on the end of it. It comes for Allinson. Driven first time. It might go anywhere. Rocastle! Arsenal are through to Wembley.
I should settle for first place, of course. Anybody that had settled for less is crackers.
Right, hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And here we go. We have got Darren. He's back tonight, and we're doing part 2 of our chat about Darren's life as a football fan. We're going to sort of more or less carry on from where we left off last time. So, Darren, you were saying before we went live that you wanted to say a bit more about stuff that you were doing in the 80s. So do you want to get going with that?
Yeah, just a quick recap. There was just a couple of things from part 1. In the 80s, I remember somebody gave me it. I think it was one of my family. I used to have this, it was like a glasses case. It was like a silver box. And in the middle, there was this like little firelighter thing that went right down the middle in this little groove. And the idea of it was it got lit during the game. You shut it, and then because it was freezing cold in the winter, I used to stick that in my pocket and sort of warm my hands up with it. It was really weird because after we did the part 1, there was a couple of things from standing on the clock end that sort of stuck out, and that was one of the things. I took it a couple of times, then I didn't really work. I weren't in trouble. I thought, well, it's just, it's cold. I'll get on with it, but it's probably given to me by one of my family. They're probably thinking, oh, he's off to the football. He's freezing his bollocks off. So let's give him this to try and warm him up, And the other thing, funny enough, I remember as well, was my first game at home to QPR. Although I went with some people that were older than me, sort of, that are still going today, actually, in their 80s, from our local area. They go to all the home games, still unbelievable. Proper fans, every game a season ticket holder, supporting since the 70s, I walked in on the clock end, and I was in awe of it all, looking around. Out of the blue, the first thing a stranger said to me on the clock end, I was standing there, walking towards, where we were going to stand, sort of thing. And this bloke, he must have seen I was a bit timid. I must have been about 12, 13. He must have been about 25. Not a big bloke. He's just come straight up to me and gone, "Who the fucking are you?" And I just froze. I was like, oh, shit. This is like, what is all this about? You know, it's... when I told the story of my first game in the last part, I just forgot about it. Just didn't even enter me. But then afterwards, I'd done it. Oh, yeah, that was the game. The bloke sort of come up to me and he weren't even aggressive. It was just like a throwaway comment. Sort of like, "Well, who are you, mate?" You know, probably even sussed it out. It was probably my first game, you know.
Was he Arsenal, Darren?
Yeah, I think he was, yeah. Sure
So
he was.
You weren't like you was in the away end or something like that?
No, I was in the right side, because in the clock end,
right.
the bit by Avenel Road is where the Arsenal lot went, and the bit where Highbury Hill is where the away fans went. So we'd always go, or my first time I ever went to Arsenal, we went in the clock end by the Avenel Road bit where the training bit was, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was Arsenal and just thought, oh, look, here's a newbie. Let's have a little look at him and see what he does. Maybe I was there with me. I was like this, and I was so obviously, wow, you know, and he thought he'd just have a bit of a laugh, you know, but he weren't having a laugh. He was like,
he's
like
a
bit of a bully, probably. Bit of a bully.
He's had a bit off key, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. And the other thing as well is QPR is going to mention a couple of pitch invasions on this story today. And QPR as well, I remember going there in the 80s away. Last game of the season, we beat them 4-1. And Arsenal, we took the whole ground over. You know, it was Arsenal all in there, all in the seats, the away end. And everyone went on the pitch, you know. We all sort of went on. I think Merce scored that day. Might have been, I think it was the season we won the Littlewoods Cup, the League Cup, 87. So we were sort of coasting. We were all like, oh, yeah, we've won the cup. And you know, it was a bit of an exhibition match for us. You know, QPR might have even been relegated, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that was good. That was good fun. So I can move on to the 90s now, I think, when you're ready. That's probably done the 80s for me.
Before we do that, I just want to play something.
Yeah.
It's about the League Cup finals we talked about last time, because I just want to get your thoughts about it, right? So first one we're going to see is the 87 League Cup.
Yeah.
And then we're going to it'll move on to the 88 League Cup. So let's have a watch of that.
That's a great ball.
Dear, it's not working very well, is it?
This is Steve McMahon. O'Leary coming across. He's left rush. It's such a familiar sight. Arsenal caught absolutely dead. The ball to McMahon. Look at O'Leary. He comes across here. Nobody is getting to rush. And all that started very early on when Arsenal had too many men caught forward. They didn't get back in midfield. The back four was exposed. And Rush, as ever, finds the finish. Grobbelaar didn't touch it.
Yeah.
May go through the legs to Davis or for Nicholas. Look at them poised. You think it was just out of 100 metres. Davis hit the wall. Sanson. Anderson. Adams. Nicholas off the post. Anderson. Yes, it's gone in. It's Charlie. Charlie Nicholas has done it. What a succession of near things before Charlie Nicholas becomes the hero of the North Bank and most of North London. Anderson initially, Adams got the touch there, up came Nicholas, it came off the post, Anderson out again, Nicholas makes the touch here, and it's 1-1. We're back to the comics again, or very nearly.
Sanson. Groves. He's away from Gillespie. Nicholas and Rocastle in the area. Nicholas! Yes! Got a deflection, I think. To go, and Arsenal have the lead, and it was the substitute who made it, and Nicholas who scored it. Groves away from Gillespie. Yes, it got a deflection. Grobbelaar was going the other way. I think it came off Ronnie Whelan. Yes, indeed it did. He's the Bonnie Prince this afternoon. George Graham comes out to meet his team. Arsenal are the first winners of the Little Woods Cup. A lot of congratulations for Perry Groves, and justifiably. But the biggest smile is on the face of the bubbly one, Charlie Nicholas. And George Graham, in his first season as manager of Arsenal, has a piece of silverware to put on the sideboard as reward for their endeavours. The chance for Luton! Steen has scored! Superbly by Dibble. Caesar. Oh, stumble. Can Black get in there? Steen! Steen! And it's in there! I think it was Danny Wilson who got the last touch, and Luton are back at 2-2. Grimes. The outside there, Steen! And Luton are ahead in the very last minute. The name goes on the Littlewoods Cup. Luton Town.
Right, so Darren, that's the end of that one. What did you? We talked about the '87 and the semi-finals, and is there anything you wanted to say about that final, Darren? Because I don't think we really touched on it, did we?
No, I mean, I've just got goosebumps looking at Arsenal-Liverpool. I did. Sitting here, I've got goosebumps. And what struck me there was Nicholas's movement, especially for the second goal. You can see he's not, if you look at Nketiah's movement and Nicholas, not being too harsh, but you don't see Nketiah do that. You know, he
because he sort of ran into space, didn't
Nicholas knew exactly, you know, he weren't running in a straight line. He was just holding a run. He knew exactly where that ball was going to go. And that now, you don't really see that any. I've probably been a bit unkind to bring Nketiah in. You don't see it anywhere now, that sort of movement in the box. Football's changed, you know, that's not something you really see. And even watching Ian Rush's goal, you know, his movement there was perfect when McMahon squared that ball to him. He can go charging off, running towards it, and then taking a touch, and then adjusting himself, then thinking, right, where am I going to? He just delayed his strides before he hit the ball, and that's the difference between footballers today, I think, and the footballers in them days. You know, I heard the other day somebody go on TV. I think I can't remember who said it. I think it was another player. Oh, Harry Kane's the best player Tottenham have ever had. No, he ain't.
Exactly.
Don't ask me who Tottenham's best player is. I'd probably say Jimmy Greaves, Glenn Hoddle, off the top of my head. But I don't think Harry Kane's the best player Tottenham have ever had. But that's how people are just so deluded now, thinking that the football started in 2005 or the year.
I know. I heard that comment as well, and I had the same thought because I agree.
Yeah, and looking there, fair play to him.
I think there were several players that you could have named. You could like Ardiles, Hoddle, Clive Allen, possibly.
Yeah.
And certainly Jimmy Greaves. I think Jimmy Greaves, if you broke it down and compared it properly, you'd probably find that Greaves had a better goal scoring record than what Kane did.
Yeah.
But it's a great day, mate, that game against Liverpool, wasn't it?
Oh, it was awesome, yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, I don't know about you, but when Rush scored that goal, I just thought, oh, no. Because do you want to tell everyone what it was like when Ian Rush scored, what that record was that he had?
Yeah, Rush, he never lost when he scored. So we were the first team to beat Liverpool after Rush had scored. So, and I know people in the crowd were all going, "Oh, that's it, Rush has scored, that's it," and all this. You know what? Again, it's like the Tottenham semi-finals. I don't know what it was. I think it was probably the vibe around Arsenal at that time that we were going to do things with George Graham. Probably like what all these people think about Arteta now, but what the difference is, George Graham did something by now, and Arteta has done nothing. Other than get given a inheriting an FA Cup winning team, just being there just to caretake it over the line and win the FA Cup.
Because I mean, he's been here 4 years and won one FA Cup, which was with somebody else's team. And George, it was only here a year, and he won the League Cup, and then he got to the final the next year, and then within a few years he'd won a European trophy, and his team had got to the final of the same European tournament again the following year, and he'd won league titles and FA Cups and whatnot. So so what was your memories about that League Cup run and final in 88, Darren?
Right, in 88, we had Everton in the semis, and we managed to get past them, beat them 1-0 at home and then 3-1 in the return leg. I went to the return leg at Highbury. That was a great night. Great atmosphere in the stadium. Highbury, when it was really, obviously 50,000 in, was a special place to be in. There's no doubt about that. And I'll probably touch on that a bit later on. But it was a great place to be in. It was a huge stadium, and everyone was all packed in. It was brilliant atmosphere. You see some of those photographs that have taken of Highbury, where you can see just open terracing, clock end, during a night time game, everyone sort of there transfixed watching the game. It is this, and you can't beat that. I don't think I like the Emirates as a stadium. I don't like the way the club's gone and how we've gone about things. But I do like the Emirates as a stadium, and it could be very good. But unfortunately, I think the ethos now has lost a little bit. Obviously, the game is more global now than it is. I think in our day, Warren, the game was local, more localised. You had the odd Swedish, Scandinavian. I used to see the Swedish lot turn up at Highbury in the 80s, fans. But other than that, you didn't really have too many overseas supporters. Now I switched on. Well, I didn't switch on. I was in the pub watching a game at the weekend. And when it got announced that there was this delay, the cameras fixed onto the crowd, and immediately you see people that are probably on holiday, that have come over and shelled out about £1,000 each for a couple of tickets. They're in the ground, yet there could be someone who goes to every game who's locked out, who's then at a risk of missing the game. And I don't really think that's very fair. I think there should always be a place for people abroad coming to watch the games. But football's, I think, deserted its loyal fan base, and that's not something that sits very well with me at all. But yeah, I mean, Highbury was a great place, and then at that time, it was a great place to be, big crowds, fantastic.
No, it was great. And I heard a discussion on the radio the other day between these two fellas. One was going on about, the trying to make out that it was good that football is part of the leisure industry and like a tourist attraction. And the other one going, no, it's not. It's like, it should be the way it was for like loyal fans and, match going fans should be able to get in tickets, and it shouldn't be a tourist attraction.
No.
And I have to say, I agree with the fellow that was going, it's for match going fans, loyal supporters, not, there should be tickets that can be made available for people, but it shouldn't be a bloody tourist attraction. Yeah, if they want to do a stadium tour, fine, but not. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't agree with it, mate. But so, Darren, do you want to continue on? You were talking about the 91 season. Do you want to carry on from where we left off with the 88 League Cup final?
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking today, just before doing this stream, the 1991 season was a good one. Anders Limpar got brought in on the wing in place of Brian Marwood. He'd done his job, won us the 89 trophy, the league title. The next season, we said in the last stream, we sort of petered off a bit, and then George really did go out and find an absolute gem in Limpar, and immediately I could see. I went to a couple of home games. I think it was Luton at home at the start of the 91 season, and you could see it was just electric, fast, quick, getting goals up, brilliant. And then I think we all remember in the 91 season the 23-man brawl at Old Trafford when we scored from a corner, and Nigel Winterburn, Brian McClare, and that was brilliant because that had stemmed from a couple of seasons back. It was when Smithy got his first goal. Smith come in, Alan Smith, and he was struggling to score. He was a big centre forward. He was struggling to score, and I was there in the clock end seeing that first goal. He nodded in the FA Cup against Man U. Michael Thomas got the other one. We went 2-0 up, and then Man U got a goal back. So this is why I never ever leave a game early. So we were 2-1. Anyway, I might have had something on that night and I needed to get home first. So I thought I'm going to leave about 5-10 minutes before the game. So I come out of Highbury. As I'm walking towards Arsenal tube station down Gillespie Road, I hear this. And I thought, what's that? What's happening? And of course, I'm not in the ground anymore. And I'm thinking, what? And I'm like, that's either us scored or Man United have scored to make it 2-1. So I get on the tube and I'm talking to this geezer on the tube opposite me. I'm going, we've come out of that ground early. I ain't got a clue what's going on because I didn't have a mobile then to check the score or anything when I was changing at, say, Baker Street when the Wi-Fi come in. None of that old crap. That's it. You're on your way home. And until you get home 45 minutes later or an hour later, you ain't going to know what's happened. All right, transistor radios, but I never carried one of them. I weren't one of them people that carried a transistor radio around with me. So that's it. I was on the way home and wondering if we won the game or not. Of course, what had happened was Winterburn had a dust up with McClare, and a penalty got given. Was McClare running up to the penalty spot, kicking the ball and it hitting the crossbar and going into the North Bank. And it was the North Bank celebrating his miss.
Yes.
So that's why me and my lad, we went to Arsenal Inter Milan. We got done 3-0. And even like 90 minutes, I said to me, lad, we ain't going anywhere. We're staying here. Because Thierry Henry missed a penalty that day. That was in about 03, I think that was, in the Champions League. But then we smashed them 5-1 out there, so that made up for it. But that's why I never leave a game early. I learnt my lesson. I didn't enjoy it. It was like, what's happened? And then the Sun, I remember the Sun ran a story, you nasty nitwit Nigel, because what he'd done was, after McClare missed the penalty, he went up to him, dug him like this, dug him out. You missed the penalty, mate. Like this. So him and McClare had this running sort of battle going on. And it went up my Old Trafford, and we got deducted, I think, was it 2 points? And Man United got deducted 1 point.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a great season. Then I saw us beat Chelsea 4-1. That was a good day out. And I went Forest away that season and Aston Villa at home where we smashed them 5-0. And David Platt in that game, he went in goal for Villa because they had their goalkeeper sent off. That was before he joined us. Yeah. He joined us about 4, 5, 6 seasons later from Italy.
Sure.
Yeah, so and a lot of people say that 91 team is their favourite team, and I can see why, because the defence was just like immense. I mean, Boldy was brilliant. I used to love watching Boldy. He wouldn't get away with it now, but if there was a striker that was good and you'd see him, he'd take him out. He'd follow the striker back to the halfway line and basically upend him, kick him.
Yeah.
He'd kick him from behind with he'd toe punt the striker's heel or bare foot underneath. He would really steam in, and he would accept that he'd get a yellow card for it, but he would reduce the ability of the striker to do anything for the rest of the game. He'd put him right up in the air.
But because that team, I have to say, that is my favourite team. Well, not my favourite team. I just think it was the best team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they were immense. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this book here, Darren. I don't know if you can see it. It's not showing it. It's called Arsenal, A Complete Record, and it's like a book with all the stats and the history of the club in it. Right, that season, in 38 games, we only conceded 18 goals for the whole season in the league. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
And the next best defence in the country was Liverpool, who was second, and they conceded 40. So it's under half of what our nearest competitor did. Yeah. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It really is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, you get near that. Mourinho's Chelsea, they get a little bit near that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they do.
When they had Terry and Carvalho at the back in 2005. But, I mean, Dixon, Winterburn, Adams and Bold were probably the best. Well, I always feel bad about leaving Keown out, but obviously his antics on BT Sport, TNT Sport sort of made me a bit less guilty about that now, because I think he shouldn't be coming out saying some of the things that he says about how well we're doing, and surely he can't believe that, But
well, actually, seeing as you've brought that up, I'm going to show you something now because it sort of brings us neatly to Mr. Keown. So let's have a look at this. It'll come up in a minute.
Move on from Brighton because I don't care about this time.
Why?
So, in case you don't know the context of Stuart Robson's relationship with Arsenal, he played, of course.
He hasn't got one.
He, of course, played with Arsenal and then went and worked for Arsenal TV when Arsene Wenger was in charge, and then was asked not to work for Arsenal TV anymore because of some of the comments that he made.
Well,
So you got it wrong straight away, Dan. You
go on,
got
Robbie,
it
sorry.
wrong straight away.
Sorry.
What happened was Arsenal came to me and said, we hear you, we like what you do for us, but we hear you on other channels and you criticised Arsene Wenger. Can you not do that? I said, well, you're about a tenth of my workload.
Wow.
And I'm not going to change and lie for you just so that I can be Mr. Pro Arsenal. So I, in the end, decided that it wasn't right for me to work for them. So it was my choice, not theirs at the time.
now, without blowing smoke here, to Robbo.
Yes.
I've known Robbo for many a year.
Right.
And this is the thing with this job. Robbo does not shirk his responsibilities to call a situation out or anything. And it winds me up in these club channels. And by the way, a lot of networks, and particularly in the UK, a lot of networks seem to have turned into parodies of the club channels, where they hire pundits who are basically cheerleaders.
Yes.
And they've all got their own team, and they sit there and scream and shout when their supposed team is winning or losing. And it's just my opinion, but that's completely the wrong way to do this job. It's not if you work for Arsenal TV or Man City TV or Chelsea TV. That's fine. Your level of criticism will only be accepted to a certain extent. You have to understand that. So for anybody who does the job like we do, club channels are not for us.
Right.
They're just not for us. And I tell you what, I wouldn't change that for a minute, because I couldn't sit there kissing backsides like these club channels do. And quite frankly, some of these pundits now on these networks in the UK who sit there and they're basically sitting with their Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea scarves on when there's a broadcast on.
Well,
it's embarrassing.
here's an example. Here's an example of what we're talking about. A little while ago, I think it was Gary Neville and Martin Tyler did a commentary on an Arsenal game, and they said Arsenal had bottled it, or whatever they said. And a former Arsenal player who works for other TV channels said that they should never ever work on Arsenal games again because they were biased against Arsenal.
Martin Keown was that, Robbo? Was that
rubbish.
Martin Keown who said that, Robbo?
Yes, that's exactly who it was.
Oh, there you are. We may as well
there's
name
somebody
names
that's
if
on
we-
TV that doesn't like anybody else having a go at Arsenal. Well, that's biased commentating. That's biased reporting. You can't be that if you're going to be on TV.
Oh, we've got started.
Well,
now,
goodness, we haven't even got to the question. We were just setting up the question.
Well, it's ridiculous now.
So, Darren, what did you think about that?
Well, I saw Kieran Gibbs nodding and agreeing with it all. He's laughing. Kieran Gibbs is not sitting there with a scowl, is he? And sort of running away and saying, right, I've got to be somewhere else. I've got another interview to do. I can't be any part of this. He's there. He knows. This is going on, and it is quite sad, really. I mean, I'm no fan of Neville at all. And what Neville does is he does it in a more devious way. For example, we played against Newcastle last season. Towards the end of the season, we were going for the title, and we had a good game. We were under the cosh. We were throwing points away, giving points away to West Ham, Southampton. We all know what happened. And after the game, Neville was talking absolute rubbish about Jorginho. Neville sat there, started comparing Jorginho to Paul Scholes. Said, he was just like Paul Scholes today, Neville's found another way to be biased, but talk a load of rubbish and actually sort of play into the hands of the Martin Keowns of this world and the Arteta fans of this world who actually might believe that rubbish. As long as I've got a hole in my arse, Jorginho's never going to get to the levels of Paul Scholes, So, and this is what's going on. And for Keown to say that Neville said Arsenal bottled it and he's biased. No, he's not. Arsenal did bottle it. A lot of the fan base, we all know we bottled it, because to not get 3 points against Southampton at home, West Ham away, and Liverpool away when you're 2-0 up at half-time and wiping the floor with them, or 2-1 up at half-time, but 2-0 up after 40 minutes, and wiping the floor with them. He's bottling it in my book.
Yeah, 100% it is. And you look at the amount of points that we picked up in those last games from 2nd of April onwards. It was awful. It was dreadful. Do you know what I mean? It was mid-table form at best. You're probably bottom half of the table form.
Yeah.
Because, I think we won 3 games out of 10, something like that. You know, and it was shocking. But what I've found interesting about that was that someone actually coming out and saying, there is, these clubs' media teams do get onto players to lie for them and to put up a smoke screen and give out false information. Right, okay, guys, please don't forget, make sure you go and follow Darren on Instagram. His username or handle or whatever you want to call it on Instagram is Darren Sullivan 49. And on there, he does loads of really, really cool stuff. Talking about Arsenal mostly. There's a few other bits and bobs on there as well, but it's mostly about Arsenal. And it's fascinating. And he comes out with some absolute corking videos. He really does. And he talks 100%. He talks the truth 100% all the time about Arsenal and what's going on. And I love it. I thoroughly recommend it. And the fella knows what he's talking about. And as you've seen, he's been following the club for many a year. So make sure you go and give him some love and support. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Do you know what I mean? I find that quite shocking, really.
Yeah, and what it does is it erodes your genuine admiration and respect for the players. Like Martin Keown and Ian Wright, I used to worship them.
Yeah.
I used to love them. But now they've just gone right down in my estimations because I think you're not actually telling the truth. You're not being genuine. You're not, you're being overly defensive towards the club, the players, the manager, when, it's better probably to say nothing or as least as possible rather than come out with the opposite, which is just, false hope, false positivity. It's false. Say what you think, say what you mean,
Exactly. Because I 100% agree with what Craig Burley said about it. Do you know what I mean? He's spot on because, if you're a journalist, unless you're working for the club, you should be saying what you believe, not like pandering to some agenda.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's just not right. So anyway, Darren, let's move on. We just had a chat about the 91 season. But the thing as well about that team was the fact that we only lost one game all season, and that was away at Chelsea. I mean, do you remember much about that game against Chelsea that we lost?
I do remember it. I do remember us, and when you get beat by Chelsea away, you're not going to sort of forget. It's like, oh God, because they were poor in them days. They were like the laughing stock of London, really, for as long as I can remember. They only got serious around about the era I'm going to talk about next, when money started coming into football more and more. Big signings, Zolas, Bergkamps, before that, they really were. They were like a London Newcastle in terms of entertainment. And although Newcastle are no longer that, they're probably going to be the team that challenge Man City this season for the title, from what I can see. But I don't think I really remember too much. I remember it happened, but beyond that, don't remember a lot about it.
Because in the 70s and 80s, I remember them being a yo-yo club. They'd go down to the second division, they'd stay a year or two, and then they'd come back up again, stay a year, and then get relegated. And they weren't that good. You know, we regularly give them a right thumping at Highbury. I mean, I can remember score lines for 5-2 and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, they had a little forward called David Speedy, didn't they, with his teeth missing? I remember him.
Him and Kerry Dixon.
That's it, yeah.
And we were going to have Kerry Dixon offered.
That's right, yeah. It
was £2 million, I think, the transfer fee that got agreed. Well, until Ken Bates sort of had a wobble about it and decided to pull the deal. That season we only lost one game all season, and that was that game at Chelsea. And it was because, if I remember correctly, it was because Tony Adams was staying at His Majesty's pleasure. Yeah. He's in prison.
Yeah. And, for playing drunken cricket in Essex. For playing drunken cricket in Essex.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, mate. Yeah, so, I mean, that team was phenomenal. It really was. And he could have gone invincible. Very easily. You know, and, you know, I still think that if that Heysel stuff hadn't have happened, that Arsenal would have won the Champions League or the European Cup, I think it was then. Yeah. Back in the, you know, at that time. You know, obviously the English League wasn't as strong then as it was now, as it is now, I should say. But I do think we would have, during that period, I think we would have won it.
Definitely.
You know. But anyway, Darren, do you want to go and talk about your next period?
Yeah, so next period, sort of the mid-90s were, after George got sacked, they were a bit of a sort of strange time. We won the European Cup, Winners' Cup in 94. That was brilliant. I was a bit annoyed that I never even thought about going out there for that. But I think, what was I then? 23 at the time. So I was still a bit, I don't know. In them days, things were difficult moving about. Now you've got Eurotunnel and all that. It's all quicker and that, and you can get out. But, you know, I probably regret thinking, well, I should have made an effort to get out there and seen that, you know, especially as we ain't really done anything in Europe since, really. But so we won that, and then 95 we got in the final again, and we had Naeem's halfway line thing. That was a bit of a disaster when Stuart Houston was in charge. He did a reasonable job as caretaker boss after Graham went. And then 96-7 along come Mr. Rioch. He had a bit of a season in charge, and it was all a bit if and buts. But the great thing was Dennis had arrived, David Platt as well, one season. I mean, Dennis' arrival was brilliant because it was like, wow, you know, we've gone and signed this great player. And the other thing is Capital Gold on the radio was on. Jonathan Pearce, he was like a bit of a legend with his commentary. He only does BBC now. But in them days, listening to Jonathan Pearce on Capital Gold was brilliant. You had Bobby Moore on there as well, Alan Mullery. He had some great commentators. So if I couldn't get to the games, the next best thing was listening to the games on Capital Gold Radio if I weren't watching a live game. But there weren't so many live games on. There was only one live game on, perhaps, or two live games on a weekend then. Certainly none in midweek in the Premier League. So that takes us up nicely to when Mr. Wenger arrived. And when he arrived, I was like, who is this bloke? Who have we got in here? You know, what? Who is he? What is he going to do? I just thought, nah, this ain't going to work. But
there was all this talk, wasn't there, in the papers about us getting all these like top draw managers coming into the club. There was, I think there was talk about Venables coming in. Not that he was, you know, top draw, but he was a top manager.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't like the elite level, but he was a top manager.
Well, yeah, just taken England to the semi-finals of the Euros, so he was a good
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and then this fella no one's ever heard of strolls in.
Yeah, and you know, all of a sudden, Jonathan Pearce is talking this Wenger guy up on the radio, and I'm starting to listen, thinking, hang on a minute, he's definitely got on to something here, and especially when he sort of kept the back four and goalkeeper. You know, it's like some managers come in and they just have a flush out, just get rid of loads of people. And, you know, at least giving Wenger a lot of credit. You know, he stuck by that back line and changed the diets as well, and you know, that sort of prolonged their career. And all of a sudden, we're seeing Tony Adams charging up on the right wing, centre forward, and all this. And brilliant, great. Seeing us smash Tottenham 3-1 at home. Remember when Dennis scored that pull down in the sort of volley or off the drag back and then shot in the far right-hand corner. Yeah, it's brilliant. Great days. And I had the luxury towards the end of that 97-98 double winning season. I didn't go to any of the FA Cup games, but I went to the 3-1 Newcastle at home and I went to the 4-0 title celebration at Highbury. And the 3-1 Newcastle was in the clock end. I was right behind Patrick Vieira's 30-yard. As soon as he hit the ball, you just knew there weren't anything stopping that shot. You know, brilliant.
I mean, it was happy days because
yeah,
Wenger completely transformed the way we played as well.
Yeah.
Because before he arrived, we had this reputation. Some of the times I think it was justified, and sometimes I think it was completely unjustified, of being quite a dour, negative thing. A bit like Chelsea were when Mourinho first arrived.
That's right.
And but then there were times when we would play under George and his successors, we would play some absolutely incredible football as well.
Yeah.
You know, scored loads of goals and absolutely battered teams. But, you know, that's what it was. And, it was absolutely, he absolutely transformed loads of stuff at the club, didn't he?
Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, George was a disciplinarian and he was hard on the players and he wouldn't stand any nonsense. And that was great. That worked. And Wenger's methods worked as well. You know, he was more sort of quiet and, you know, less sort of authoritative, but it worked equally as well, you know, and I think the players soon respected it. And then you used to see these strong players get brought in. Like George had the real tough people like Rocky Rocastle, Michael Thomas in midfield. But then look at who Wenger brought in, Nicholas Anelka. I mean, strong as an ox. He used to just not, and he was only like youngster, 17, 18. He'd be just bashing people around up front, you know.
And Dennis as well. People forget this about Dennis. He could handle himself as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember seeing him against. I think it was that season actually. We played Port Vale at Highbury, the FA Cup. I did go to a game. I was in the West Lower, and I think we might have drew with them, and they took us to a replay. We might have beat them in a replay. But I remember seeing this defender, and he just kicked Dennis right in the middle of the back, like bang, he's kneed him in the back. And Bergkamp went down, but you never see Bergkamp writhe around on the floor and play acts and that. He just sort of went down, put his head down, and then just sort of just got up gradually and just got on with it. Yeah. And then he kept getting sent off, Dennis, didn't he? He kept elbowing people, I remember.
Exactly.
He kept, people were kicking him, digging him and that, and he had a couple of these where he'd just go, bosh, straight in the face, straight in the mush, bang, like this. And I remember he'd get banned for 3 games, and it's like, oh no. And then poor old Wenger used to get accused of Arsenal are thugs, and oh, Wenger's got a terrible disciplinary record there, bullying teams and bashing them up and all that. And then in about 5-10 years' time, that went the other way. All of a sudden, Wenger had a soft underbelly and weren't tough enough.
Yeah. It's a bit weird, actually, because I remember I've heard a story that Wenger got called in by the directors or something, or by the board, and said he had to sort out. They told him he had to sort out the discipline at the club because they were getting fed up with it, and I think the FA might have put pressure on him or something. But I heard that he got called in.
Yeah.
And then after that, we just seemed to slowly lose the steel we had. But it proves to me that it needed that, because look what happened after it went.
Yeah.
We were getting battered all over.
We were getting battered, yeah. So I went to the Arsenal-Everton game, 4-0 win, Mark Overmars, and then I was in the North Bank behind that Tony Adams volley at the end.
Right.
That'd probably go down as my second best Arsenal game, probably above the Littlewoods Cup final 2-1 win, maybe equal to it, joint second, because that was a special day. I mean, the ground was just like, it was electric, it was just, there were banners everywhere, flat scarves up all over the shop, And then after the game, we went to the Blackstock pub, because that's the pub that I like. That's probably my favourite pub, because when things get sort of lively at Arsenal in terms of big games and celebrations, that's opposite the 12 Pins pub, which is the busier across the road. So normally, if it's a big game and that, for the game, I'll probably head towards the Blackstock, although there's no guarantee of getting in because it is a small pub. But I love the pub because I've got great memories. So after the 4-0 win against Everton, I managed to get a ticket from someone from work. They gave me a ticket. I went along. And wow, I mean, the celebrations were just unbelievable. People were standing on tables, jumping up and down, dancing away, pints, beer thrown everywhere. It's great. It's great to be in. It's great days at the game,
Sounds amazing, mate. It really does. So when we won that title in '98, because it was unbelievable, like, the run we went on and all the rest of it. Was that the season when Meninga had to go in goal?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because Seaman got injured.
Yeah, that's right.
Out for months on end, and this kiddie coming from Austria, Meninga, and he was absolutely outstanding. I remember there was a game at West Ham, I think.
That's it, yeah.
In the FA Cup, and they and how we didn't lose that game, I don't know. It was down to him because of the saves he made.
Yeah. It was definitely down to him, and I think that's the best game I ever saw Martin Keown play, because John Hartson had gone to West Ham from Arsenal, and Hartson was really making a nuisance of himself. That was penalties. And the reason why that game sort of sticks out as well is my wife was due to give birth, and I'm watching the game at home in the living room, and it's the penalty shootout. My wife's come down the stairs and said, I've got to go out to the hospital, Darren. This is it.
Oh, no.
I always remember when my daughter was sort of born, that's the game that sticks out. West Ham Arsenal, 6th round in the Cup.
Yeah. Because we could have easily lost that game.
Yeah.
And I still think it was down to him, because he was
brilliant.
Outstanding.
He had a load of good games, though, where he was a great shot stopper. And it's weird because I'm sure before he got a run in the team, when the injury come on, I went to a game and I was coming home on the tube, and I sat opposite this bloke, and I looked at him and I thought, I know you. How do I know you? Because he was like, probably a squad member, you know, and I was sitting there thinking, yeah, and I'm sure it was him sitting on a tube opposite me. It was a weird one, that, you know. But he come in the team and he was shit hot. I mean, I'm surprised that he never either went somewhere else and done something. I don't know where he went after Arsenal. I think he went to Germany, didn't he, or somewhere? I think.
Probably, yeah. I honestly don't know. I know I was gutted when he left because I thought he was quality. I really did. I thought that he was at some point he was going to take over from David Seaman, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but
brilliant.
Anyway, mate. So, do you want to carry on?
Yeah. So carrying on. So you know, we were then challenging every season Man United for titles, FA Cups, Champions League. We were there or thereabouts, although never got there, as we all know. And then the next one I'm going to go on to is Arsenal-Tottenham at home in 2002, because that's the first game I took my son to, because I go to the games with my son when I go to games. I don't go on my own anymore. So from about 2002, I was mainly going with my lad, who I named George Nicholas Thomas Sullivan. You can probably guess why. You know,
exactly.
His mum's Greek Cypriot, so the George part of it sort of, you know, was a good fit on both sides of the family. So, so I took him along and it was unbelievable. 2002, we stood outside the Marble Halls. I took him to see the coaches turn up and we're standing there. Tottenham start getting off the coach. So they all get off the coach and it's like, as the players are walking in. All of a sudden, Mr. Sheringham starts walking up the steps to go in, and there's this big boo like that. And that was it. My son that got him. He got the bug. As soon as Sheringham got booed off the coach, he burst into laughter. And that was it. He was hooked from that day onwards.
Wow.
Excellent. And we beat them 2-1. It was a niggly game. We were going for the 2002 league, which we won, obviously the double. And I'm at the top of the North Bank with my lad. And I'm jumping up and down, celebrating the goals and the penalty and everything. And yeah, brilliant. So that was a good. It was a hot day. But Sheringham, he got a goal with 10 minutes left, made it 1-1, and that could have really dented our chances of like winning it, but we managed to get a 2-1 win. I think Lauren slotted a penalty because Henri got balled down, and I remember that one. That was a good game, good win over Tottenham to get our way onto the league. Yeah,
superb stuff. Right, before we go any further, I just want to bring everyone's attention to the slide that's on the screen at the moment. It's all about Darren's Instagram account. So please make sure you go and follow Darren on Instagram. He uploads loads of really interesting stuff on there. He's got this, what's that show that you do on there, Darren?
Oh, the evening kickoff on a Friday.
That's it, yeah, the evening kickoff.
The evening kickoff.
Brilliant. So what sort of other things do you get up to on there, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, I just post a few little family bits and bobs on there, whatever I'm doing, having a bit of a laugh. I'll put, normally if there's a game and something decent's after, if I won't do it every game, but if something half decent's happened in a game that I like the look of, or it was a turning point, or it was a fantastic goal, or, you know, I'll stick it on there. What did I do at the weekend? Well, I showed Declan Rice. Not a lot of people mention this from the weekend's game against Forest, but I thought Declan Rice had a good game, and we were 2-1 up, and they had a corner, and Bolly, the big centre-back, has come up for a corner, and Rice, they were accusing him of handball, but what he actually did was jump up and get right in front of him to just put him off his header. Otherwise, he'd have had a clean header 6 yards out. And I put a bit of music on to that. I can't remember the tune, but this is what I do. I'll stick a bit of music into, you know. Oh, it was Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. It was one of these old tracks. Because I'm hoping Rice is going to be decent for us and, you know, tough. And stop.
We need it. We need a leader. Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah. Well, hopefully he'll turn into that leader. Somebody's got to step up because Martin Odegaard is a mouse.
He's a mouse.
He's a mouse.
I don't agree with all this hugging and kissing and, before the game with the opposition. No. You're going there onto the pitch. You're going to war.
Yeah.
3 points,
Yeah.
So, so make sure you go and follow Darren. The link for his Instagram account is going to be in the description. And, he uploads brilliant stuff on Instagram. Check out his pre-match video that he did on Saturday as well before the Forest game, because he was not a happy chappy at all. It was he was just saying exactly what I was thinking as well about it.
Yeah.
So
I went on Del Boy Gunner's channel, which is good as well. I went on there and sort of had a debate with another fan that was sort of, he had rose tinted glasses on. They need to take these rose tinted glasses off as fans.
that's Darren makes an appearance on that show after the matches on a regular basis. So that's always good to see because he talks a lot of sense. So Anyway, Darren, so let's move on. Well,
right. Yeah, I'm one of these fans that
2002 season.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the game. I'm one of these fans. I don't go to every game. I haven't got a season ticket. So I probably go to about 6 to 10 games a year, and that is going to get reduced because of this ballot thing potentially. So, but if I get a chance, I'll get an away. I'll go to an away, definitely. Me and my lad, we're always looking out away games. We drove up to Everton a few seasons back, saw a 1-1 draw with Walcott and Fellaini, 1-1 draw in midweek. Man United in the FA Cup. Love going up to Man United. That's a good day out. Liverpool's a bit of a further trek, but we'll do that as well. Did the 5-5 draw in the League Cup about 3 seasons back. That was madness. Lost on how we lost that tie, I'll never know. I mean, we were like 3-1 up. They had Oxlade-Chamberlain playing away with them, and we had like Martinelli and we were banging goals in, and that was a madness game. So, yeah, another game I liked in 2007, I went with my lad and his mate, 4-1 away win against Tottenham in the League Cup. Henri Lansbury scored the first goal. We took a massive following of Arsenal to that ground that day. It really was brilliant. I love the League Cup games. As I said in part one, League Cup and FA Cup. Away fans, we get more allocation for a start, so the atmosphere is a lot better. It's more even odds in the ground. It's with atmospheres and stuff.
Was that the game where it was 1-1 at 90 minutes and it went into extra time and we scored 3 goals in extra time against them?
Who was that? Tottenham?
Yeah.
No, this was we slaughtered them.
Right. Okay, so that's not the
we
one.
went
4-0
up
Darren.
Tottenham, I think, and they got a goal back. I reckon that was about 2007 from guessing. About 2007 that was.
Yeah. Okay. And you said Henri Lansbury got one. Can you remember who else scored that night, Darren?
I can't, no, but I remember he got the first goal because it went out wide, got put in, and he's come in and he slid in and got the first goal, and that was it. We just erupted, and it was good shenanigans down at the lane again.
Exactly. It's always nice beating them on their turf, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's more. The thing is, it's a bit more dangerous now going away at Tottenham because in the 80s, when I was telling you I wore that shirt, it weren't so. It was weird. Football was more sort of risky then, but for some reason, Tottenham really fucking hate us. If they see an Arsenal fan on your own, they'll come and attack you. It's not nice. It's a funny thing. I think it's got something to do with when you turn up at their ground, there's only one place that you come in from. All right, you can come in from, I think it's Northumberland Park railway station, but most of it is that horrible walk from Seven Sisters all down Tottenham High Road, and then you've got that pub on the corner there, and that's where you've got to go to get in the away end, and they're all there. Whereas at Arsenal's ground, we've just got, it's a cast of about 4 or 5 different options, isn't it, for teams to come in,
Exactly. So it's just, I don't know what it is, Darren. I mean, I know that they've had, there's been an upsurge in their hooligan element in recent years. I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, but I remember, right, I've been there twice, and both times I didn't feel that threatened at all. I felt more threatened at West Ham, to be honest, than going there. So
so I think the last 2 examples I got are actually games where I didn't actually go into the ground. I actually went in the ground for one of them, but the other one I went to the pub. So 2015, we had the FA Cup against Aston Villa. And we all know how hard it is to get a ticket for FA Cup finals. You've got to win the local Rotary Club lottery, like a football club or something, or no Boise, although he's no longer with us, or you got to be in the know and, get a ticket that way. Or you have to go down the pub. So we went, we found out it was on the Emirates. It was actually on at the Emirates. They had a big screening showing of it. So me and my lad have gone down there, we might have paid some money. It was a hot day. It was a great day. So I have the odd flutter on the games. I don't do it every game, but I have the odd bet. And I got a scorecast that day. It was unbelievable. I got Walcott to score first, 4-0 Arsenal, because I thought we'd smash Villa. I didn't fancy Villa's chances at all. We had Sanchez, Giroud, and a good team, So we got in there, and I got to go on the pitch. I got to do a pitch invasion at the Emirates. So weren't during a game. It's nothing illegal. So we're all watching the game, and I was looking around me thinking, if we win this, we'll all just file out, and that'll be the end of it. Well, we're 3-0 up, getting towards about injury time. And all of a sudden, people start running on the pitch, and they come over the loudspeakers, go back to your seats, don't invade the pitch, go back to your seat, like this. So next thing, people, instead of taking any notice of the tannoy, everyone just did the opposite and all started running on the pitch. And by that time I thought, well, if they're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So on YouTube now, at any given day, I can bring the game up. I've got it on my phone, I think. I can see me. I've got a George Armstrong 1971 retro shirt, and I'm running on the pitch.
I've actually got the video clip here, Darren.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
I'm going to put it on now so that people can see it. All right.
Yeah,
so here we go. You're hearing from the left-hand side, and you move.
Yeah, from the left to the right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've done it before. Of course, they did it at the start of the century. Which looks like Chelsea and Southampton. They are about to do it again. I think the Chuckle Brothers are hanging from the roof of the Embassy Suite to try and get the FA Cup side event 2015. It's fantastic when that goes up.
That looks absolutely amazing, Darren. And
it's brilliant, and especially as we were 3-0 up, and I had Walcott to score first, Arsenal to win 4-0, and we danced on that pitch celebrating the FA Cup. And then whilst we were on the pitch, the 4th goal went in. So that celebration just got even more wilder because I ended up getting 250 quid out the bookies.
Brilliant, nice one.
And
so you had a good day then.
And I had a very good day, and I'm far too soft. I'll give me lad half because it's like, just too soft, and I should have kept it all. But I'll give him half. I say, go on, you can go and have a night out now. And,
Fair play, man. Fair play.
That's good. So I was in the, I had like a yellow top on with 11 on the back, George Armstrong, and you see me bouncing along the bottom of the screen from left to right, and then my son, he's got this Arsenal jester hat, red and white, sort of on a red top on, red and white, sort of clown's hat on, which actually got stolen.
No,
Not at this game. England played in the final against Italy, Wembley. So my lad put that on for the England colours, went down to Wembley, and he was there, and someone come along, whipped it off his head and run off.
See, that day, that was absolute madness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
People storming the gates. And...
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, it was ridiculous. So now the last one I'm going to do is Arsenal-Chelsea, FA Cup. And that was the Blackstock pub, and that was just much like that on there. Absolute scenes, 2017, I just thought, got Chelsea, they're going for the double. I was going to go down to Wembley with about $3,000 and sort of buy a ticket, but you got to watch it. You're not allowed to do that, and that you got to be careful. So, and who's to say even if you do go and buy a ticket off someone, you could get there and it ain't a ticket, so you just parted with $1,000 of your money, and that's it. You never see the other person again, and you've lost your money. So I just thought, well, the next best thing, Blackstock pub, great atmosphere in there. And afterwards coming out, seeing people. So when the lorries all get stuck at the traffic lights, the flatbed lorries, the ball gets kicked all around the 12 pins pub in the street and everything. And then people start jumping on these lorries and like celebrating. You just think, be careful, lads. It's great fun to watch.
Exactly, because run that by me again. You got a ticket off a tout?
No. Me and my lad and his mate, we went to the pub, and before the game, I really wanted to get to that FA Cup final. And these thoughts go through your mind. You think, I wonder if somebody might be able to flog us a ticket and go down there with readies. But it's a mugs game, because if you part with your cash and then you've got a piece, at the end of the day, you're just going to get something that looks like a ticket, and it could be a very good fake, couldn't it? And then you go in and that's it, and you've been rumbled, and it ain't a ticket. You've lost your money, so, and you run the risk of getting yourself nicked as well. So it's not worth bothering with, is it? It's not worth doing. No. I don't think.
Definitely.
Whereas back in the day, if it was £9 when it weren't illegal, away at Tottenham in the Littlewoods Cup, it's not illegal for you to buy in them days. You'd go along and you'd do it. You'd go and buy yourself a £9 ticket.
Exactly, but not now.
Not now. Nah.
Oh, well, fair play, Darren. So what would you say was your favourite moment of being an Arsenal fan since you started out being an Arsenal fan?
I think definitely Anfield 89 is a given, really. I don't think I'm ever going to repeat that experience, although it'd be nice if that could happen in the Champions League, perhaps against Tottenham or Chelsea one day. That wouldn't be a bad day at the office,
Exactly. And let me I want to see what this, I'm not sure what this is. I'm just going to put this on and see. Oh, we've seen it. Sorry, mate.
Oh, was that the Littlewoods Cup?
Yeah, it was a Littlewoods Cup game. I couldn't figure out what it was. So growing up and throughout the whole time you've been an Arsenal fan, Darren, who would you say was your favourite player?
Oh, it's very difficult. God, I mean, there's so many to choose from. You got Rocastle, Adams, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Limpar, Marwood, David Seaman, Jens Lehmann. I actually think he's my favourite goalkeeper out of all of them, because I just think he was mad and very dedicated and very vocal, whereas Seaman was a bit of a gentleman and sort of a bit more refined and restrained. Jens Lehmann was just a headbanger. I just loved him. Yeah, I used to love watching him warm up. Jens Lehmann, he used to do mad things warming up. He'd run along the goal line and he'd touch the floor and then touch the crossbar, touch the floor, touch the crossbar. And I'd be sitting there before the game thinking, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing that for? But if you think of it logically, that's what he's going to be doing during the game. So he was warming himself up properly. He's going to be going from the floor, from the ground, and then leaping up. I just thought the bloke was massively dedicated. He did silly things, and then you've got the Champions League final, which people are going to go, oh, yeah, he did that. He got sent off. But I don't know, it's a bit harsh, I think. But, yeah, so I think favourite Arsenal player, only because probably when I played football, I was a centre-back. I'd probably go with Tony Adams. For captaincy, loyalty, technique with his headers in the opposite opponent's box, sliding tackles, aggression, management of his team players, his all-round game, I think puts him above all the other people like your Bergkamps, your Omris, who were more skillful than him. There's no doubt about that. But I think if I'm going on an all-round, lots of skills that he had and determination, loyalty as well, I'd probably pick Tony Adams as my favourite Arsenal football player.
Now, the other side of the coin, there's a few candidates, I'd say, for this one.
Yeah.
Who's the worst one that you've ever seen?
Well, I think that's made easier by recent events.
Yeah, quite rightly so. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and Mr. Granit Xhaka, I think, wins the award of being my least favourite Arsenal player, because to tell the fans to F off at a historic club like Arsenal is just unforgivable. I mean, I've seen Schillaci, I've seen Pascal Sigan, I didn't see Lee Chapman and John Hawley and Ray Hankin and all these players, but I remember hearing that they were pretty dire. People used to moan about Eddie McGoldrick, Jimmy Carter come to Arsenal, he didn't do anything, but come on, I mean, most players, I was there when Abui got booed off at home to Wigan, and he took it, he just trotted off, took it. Don't these players realise they get paid all this money? All right, and they deserve it, because let's be honest, they don't have the lifestyle we have. They're under more pressure. They've got to do training. They've got to, so their life is bossed by the game. But at the same time, they also have all these people running around looking after them as well. But to run off like that and to just throw it and get the armband and throw it on the floor, it's You can't. That's unforgivable. No, and Howie's still at the club. No. He would have been, if I'd have been the director, chairman, or whatever, or manager, or whatever, I'd have been straight into him after the game saying, "Oh, right, you've just played your last game for Arsenal Football Club. Find yourself a club in January. You're out of here." And even if we'd have lost, I'd have said to the board, or if I'd have been in charge of the club, I don't care if we lose 5 million. Let's make a statement. Let's show these people you ain't coming here doing that to us. It's not on.
Can you imagine what would have happened if he'd done that when George was there?
He'd have got. I'm not sure if he'd have made the dressing room. Personally, I think they'd have had a queue of players just running over there to just.
Look, do you remember that story about Tony Adams and someone else had Lee Dixon up by his throat in the dressing room? A Spurs game. We're not losing this game today. You better be fucking on it.
Yeah.
That's right too. But I agree with you about Granit Xhaka. I've said to people that I thought he was the worst midfielder I've ever seen at Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? And I'd have Ian Selly and fucking
Stephen Hughes. I'd have had who's the other guy who played in our 91 team, the little lad, David Illia as well. He was
David
all right.
Illia.
He was good.
Trevor Ross.
Yeah.
In the team ahead of him. Because up until last season, I didn't even think he was that good, and I don't think he was that great last season.
Well, I think last season was a fraud because I think he'd had all those bad seasons, and then it was almost like he thought, right, I've got to get in the World Cup squad for Switzerland, so I'll overperform, do really well, get a bit, because we were looking at selling him anyway, and nobody wanted to give us the money for him. So maybe he was told, look, have a good season, put your price up, get in the World Cup, give us a good season, and then we'll let you go.
I know. It's just, mate,
Why does Arteta go loyal to all these players that just don't deserve the loyalty, that ain't good enough? I don't get it.
No, I don't. And so let's talk about teams now. So what do you think was Arsenal's greatest ever team, like in terms of years? So the 91 team, the 89 team, the 02 team, the current team. Which one would you pick?
That's very difficult because I like all of them, the title winning squad. I love all of them. They're all brilliant. I've said it before. I think I'd probably go for the Invincibles because I just think they were just moving the ball far too quickly for everybody. You had Lehman in goal. You had Toure and Campbell at the back. Toure was immense, strong as an ox. So was Campbell. Campbell was good in the air in the opposition box. Ashley Cole and Robert Perez down the left. I remember a Borough away. They just ripped them to shreds. Just done a 1-2 down the left wing, put a ball in the middle, and there was Gilberto to slot one. And then you had Lauren and Lundberg down the right. I think that's been our best combination. See, this is why I go for this team, because of all, not only the individual players, but how they all interacted and combined. So you had Lundberg and Lauren up the right. They were always a threat. So if you're the opposition, you've got to worry about pretty much 9 or 10 players. There's only probably Toure out of that lot that you think, well, that ain't a goal threat. Campbell's going to be a goal threat. Ashley Cole will be a goal threat. Lauren got goals. And then you got Vieira in midfield, who's probably one of the best midfielders that's played for Arsenal, because the bloke was just like a telescopic animal that would just play games with the other midfielders, where he'd, his back would be to the ball, he'd juggle it up, flick it over his head, turn around and then run at pace. And he's 6'4". How do you stop that?
Well, you can't, can you?
You can't stop it. And then just a freak of a player that sort of just ran around, and they called him the invisible wall, but he would just break things up, give the ball away to a player on his team. Not to give the ball away to the opposition, but he'd nick the ball, pass it on, and he'd get goals as well. He'd get penalties. He could be relied on. Weren't a bottle job, And then you had the dynamic duo of Bergkamp and Henry. So if you've got skill merchant Bergkamp who would just do something that would shock in the stadium, proper, people gasp in the stadium now of our team, and when Odegaard just brings a ball down that's falling out of the air, but it's nothing like Bergkamp, what he would do with a football, it's that goal he scored up against Sunderland where he's chipped it over the keeper, and then the one up at St James's Park as well, and then you got Thierry Henry who would just drift out to the left, come into the middle, drift out to the right, just go everywhere, and then he could get the ball from the halfway line and just go through and just score a goal. And that's the end of it. Nobody stopped him.
That goal that he scored against Liverpool at Highbury.
Yeah.
We were 2-1 down. Was it? I think we were 2-1 down. When I look at that goal now, in the cold light of day, it reminds me a lot of that goal that Maradona scored against England.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he just waltzed through the whole team.
Oh, lot, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
what Maradona did against England as well.
Mm.
And it was just unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the sort of thing you see in a park game or a kids' game in the playground.
Watching Henri was like a cartoon. He had his own sort of way of sort of running. And I remember watching him. We played Villa. I think we beat him 3-1 and he scored a cracking goal. The ball got pumped up high in the box and it come off Carnou's heel. Bounced off Carnou's heel and it come up to Henri and he just slotted it from outside the box, bottom right-hand corner. It's just like, how did you do that? You know, it's out of this world sort of stuff, you know.
See, the thing that always sticks in my mind about Henri was that game against Leeds at Highbury when he scored 4 goals.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And Andy Gray was doing the commentary. He's going, I've seen a lot of things in my time. He said, but I'd never seen anything like this.
No. See, Henri, what I liked about Henri, he didn't just stop. He was good at one thing, which was dribbling with the ball fast and then slotting a goal in. But he didn't just stop at that. He then started working on his game. And all of a sudden, we'd get a free kick outside the box. And he'd be pushing people out of the way, right, I'm taking that. And all of a sudden, he's getting a load of goals from free kicks outside the box. So he worked really hard on his game and just run riot, basically. But the way he sort of ran was not. I haven't seen any other footballer run like he ran, if that makes sense. You know, it was like an animal, really, in terms of. It was not like human, you know. It was like he had an extra leg. You know, it was just fucking. And there was no catching him. He couldn't be bullied, that's for sure. If a centre back tried to dig him out, and that, it was not going to happen, is it? You know,
because he was strong as well. That was the thing.
Yeah.
So, Darren, moving on from that, right? What do you think? Was our worst ever team?
Worst ever team. I'm probably going to go back. Probably the worst times I've probably seen. I'm probably going to go right back to the 80s, I think, when it was like Lee Chap. You had a bloke called George Wood in goal. Now, I'm struggling to remember this because I was a kid this time. This would have been, let me try and think when this is. Probably about 84, sort of 83 times when I went to my first game, funny enough. We were pretty shocking. You know, we didn't have anyone of note. I think we signed Tony Woodcock and Paul Mariner at the end of their career just to try and breathe some life into us at one point. They didn't last long because they were at the end of they'd been to Ipswich and Nottingham Forest winning European Cups. So that was probably the worst team I can remember. We had George Wood, who took Pat Jennings' place. And we had some shocking players. I can't even remember their names, a lot of them. But, you know, you got Hawley Rankin and Lee Chapman as well, come for 800,000 from Stoke. And he was doing well at Stoke, banging in lots of goals. And I was hopeful as a kid, thinking, oh, Lee Chapman's coming. That's good. He's going to get all the goals. And, you know, never happened. Now, I know we've had some bad teams under Wenger and Arteta, but I don't think they quite hit those lows, you know.
Right. Okay, guys, please don't forget, make sure you go and follow Darren on Instagram. His username or handle or whatever you want to call it on Instagram is Darren Sullivan 49, and on there he does loads of really, really cool stuff, talking about Arsenal mostly. There's a few other bits and bobs on there as well, but it's mostly about Arsenal. And yeah, it's fascinating, and he comes out with some absolute corking videos. He really does. And he talks 100%. He talks the truth 100% all the time about Arsenal and what's going on. And yeah, I personally love it. I thoroughly recommend it.
and the fella knows what he's talking about. And as you've seen, he's been following the club for many a year. So make sure you go and give him some love and support. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
For me, that I remember that team, was it 81? And we bought this fella from Red Star Belgrade.
Petrovic.
Yeah, I loved Petrovic. I just think he was too good for us.
Mm.
Seriously, because none of them knew what to do with him. And I ended up working with a fella from Belgrade, and he was a Red Star fan. And he said to me that when like Vladimir would go in and speak to Terry Neal and complain like about the rest of the team, and he goes, listen, he said, I can tell one player to do X, Y, and Z, but I can't do it with 10 of them. Do you know what I mean? And I just think he was too good. He'd like spray these like 40, 50-yard passes up the field, and no one would be moving.
No one on the end of it. Yeah.
Absolute dog shit. Do you know what I mean? You know, but yeah, that 81 team was quite ropey because we lost Frank Stapleton. We never replaced him. You know, it was bad times. We lost Chippy as well, and like the creativity had gone. We had no like goal threat, so to speak. I think we ended up playing Graham Ricks up front with Alan Sunderland at one point.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So in terms of years, though, what we've talked about the greatest ever team, but I just want to ask you about what the worst team. Well, no, we've done that. Sorry, mate. So during your years of like watching football and whatnot, did you ever meet any famous players, Darren?
Yeah, briefly. I met Wrighty once after the Newcastle game, said hello to him. A few of the players come across the pitch, but other than that, I don't think I have. No.
Because I mean, that must have been pretty good meeting Wrighty, though.
Yeah. It was a shame because I think he was like just about getting kicked out of the team because Anelka was doing too well. You know, he just broke the record, and you know, Anelka's come along and nicked his place. I think he was a bit he was pleased we were on the way to winning the double, but I think he wanted to be in there. He wanted to be in the starting 11, you know.
Yeah, because I remember Arsene Wenger saying that if he'd had Ian Wright earlier in his career, he reckoned he could have turned him into a world-class player. And I was thinking, he is. He is. Do you know what I mean? On his day, he was unplayable. Do you know what I mean? Especially
right. He was good.
That team with him. Do you know? They couldn't be stopped because when Rocastle was on it and he was on it, it was just unreal. It was frightening.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, right. I liked his celebrations. He used to wind them up, didn't he? He used to wind the opposing crowd up, especially the Tottenham fans. That was good. I used to enjoy that.
Exactly. So what do you think, Darren, what do you think Arsenal's greatest ever achievement has been?
Greatest ever achievement, right? That's a tough one because immediately springs to mind the Invincibles. Then Anfield 89. So as far as I can see, it would be a fight between those two. I'd probably go with Anfield 89 because no one expected us to go up there and win 2-0 like that on the night up at Liverpool. So that's probably what I'd go for is the and that was at the start of, you know, because the Invincibles, we were on a roll anyway. We would, you know, we got some decent signings in, spent money. Whereas George assembled that team from youth, really. And to assemble the team from youth and then just buy a couple of players like Smith, Richardson, and 350,000 Dixon and Bold from Stoke. I think that's the greatest achievement for me, winning that 2-0 up at Anfield against a team that were the dominant force.
Exactly, because just to put some context on this that Darren's talking about for the younger ones, that team that we went up and beat 2-0 on their own backyard, they were more dominant, I think, than what Man City are now.
Mm.
They won European Cups year on year on year, and it was at a time when the English League was probably at the level of, say, I don't know, the French League is now, really. Because if we come up, English club came up against an Italian league, an Italian team, or a Spanish team in the European Cup, as it was then, which now the Champions League, they would struggle. They'd more likely than not get knocked out, but Liverpool wouldn't. They were just like, it was almost like they were invincible. It was like a turn-up, a massive turn-up, if they lost the game, especially if they lost at home as well. And if they did lose at home, they'd only ever lose 1-0. They wouldn't lose 2 or 3, would they?
I mean, the European Cup was more special then because there was only one team in it. Now there's 4 teams from your country. It's not as, I don't think it's as special now. It should be the champions that play it, and that's it. I suppose I'm showing my age.
I do. I 100% agree with that, because back in the day, it was only the champions of each country that qualified for it. If you were second or third or fourth, then you would have to go in the UEFA Cup. But so for me, if I would agree with everything you said about the greatest achievements, the only thing I would add to that as well, given what's happened this season, is that back in the day, the Arsenal, we won 3 titles on the bounce in the 30s as well. First year it was under Herbert Chapman, and then it was his successor because he unfortunately died. But we was scoring over 100 odd goals every season, and even one game, one season, I think it was 34, and it was an England team had 7 Arsenal players in it, and the only reason they didn't have 11 was because 4 of the players from Arsenal weren't English. There was a couple of Scottish players and a Welsh player and one from somewhere else, I think Ireland or something.
Was that Ted Drake?
Yeah,
Ted Drake.
Yeah, and we beat I was going to say Arsenal. The England team won this game. It was played at Highbury. It was called the Battle of Highbury, and Arsenal won 3-2 against the current world champions. And back then, the World Cup was a lot more status to it than what it does now.
Yeah,
we were. Those for me were the 2 that I'd had to it, but I wasn't around to see it, despite what people might think. So, Darren, so moving forward, we've just got a few more questions to ask you. What? Let me find them. So, what do you think Arsenal needs? What do you think Arsenal needs to do to be successful in this current season that we just started last weekend?
Right. It's a tough one, that.
Well, actually, before you answer that, what would you deem a success to be this season for the team?
I think we definitely got to win the league.
Yeah.
100% win the league and then either a cup as well. If we won the league, I'd be happy. A cup as well would be good. But really, I mean, seriously, I mean, I can't see us winning the Champions League because I just don't think we've got the experience. You need a bit of experience behind you and solid, strong players. We've got weaklings in our team, unfortunately. And when I'm thinking of weaklings, I'm thinking of people like Zinchenko, Kai Havertz. So, unfortunately, we're relying too much. I'm just going to stick the light on here because it's getting a bit dark. So, hang on.
No problem.
Right, so we've got... we're relying on people. I mean, on the game on Saturday, I mean, the way I saw it, we're over-reliant on Saka and Martinelli. Now, Martinelli, I've been doubting for a long time. I think he's a bit overhyped. But he seems to do these little tricks that sort of get him smelling of roses and he gets away with it. So, what do we need to do to win? I mean, I don't think we've really signed the right people in this transfer window. I'm trying to get behind Havertz because I'm an Arsenal fan. But what the difficulty I see is I don't think anyone's looking to develop the bloke. I think they think he's a ready-made product, and he's not. He don't look like he's interested. He's half-hearted, running after balls, you know. Much like, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Ozil. It's horrendous to see, and I just hope and pray that it's not going to be Ozil Mark II with Kai Havertz. I don't think he's a midfielder. I don't see him being a creative midfielder. Just don't see it. The only thing I can see him doing is because when I've watched him on his previous games on the YouTube clips, is he does seem to have an ability around the 6-yard box, getting headers in the penalty area, headers, and tucking the ball away in front of goal. Other than that, I don't see any skills. Don't see what he brings to our club, and we've just spent £65 million on him. So, what do we need to do? I mean, we've got Nketiah, who just seems to have beginner's luck with goals. You know, he got that goal at the weekend, took a deflection, but this is against Nottingham Forest, and a lot of people say he's a championship striker. Well, Nottingham Forest are kind of a championship team, aren't they? You know, all right. He got the goal against Man United. We haven't got Jesus now for a little while. Now Timber's injured. I don't know what the latest update on him is. I think we need to pray, basically.
That's
pray.
True. That's true. I mean, if Tierney's going, I had something today that Tierney might be going to Newcastle.
Oh, really?
If that's the case, if he's not going to play Tierney, come what may, that means Zinchenko's out and Timber's out. So who's going to play left back? But I personally don't think we're playing with the left backs and right backs. I think we're playing with 3 centre backs, right, a 3-4-3, and then we're playing a 4 in midfield, and then 3 up front. But the thing is, with that 3-4-3 system, I don't personally, it's my opinion, I don't think we've got the players to play it.
Well, the problem is, right, here's the thing. Arteta did, whether we like Arteta or not, he did better than we expected last season. And some of the things he did last season were positive. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying Ben White, right back, Saka, right wing. They were linking up really well. And what's he done now? He's burnt his bridges. He set something up that seems to work reasonably well, and then he just rips it up, throws it in the bin, like he did with Emi, the goalkeeper. When Emi come in as goalkeeper, all of a sudden we stopped conceding goals. We won the FA Cup. With Leno out, injured, Emi come in and done a great job. And all of a sudden we look a better team with Emi in goal. Calmer, less mistakes. We win the FA Cup. Emmy gets interviewed after the game, gets emotional because he knows he's off. He's going because Arteta don't like him.
Exactly.
Burnt his bridges again. So then we've spent 30 million on Ramsdale, and then Raya gets bought in on loan or more money for him round the corner. So this is what the problem of Arteta, because he's a young manager, he ain't got that experience, so he's worrying about his own ability and his own confidence. So when he gets somewhere, I don't even think he realises when he's doing a good job. That's how bad he is. He's doing something that's good, and then he thinks, I'm going to stop that now. Let's go back to a 3-4-3 formation. Yeah, this formation we did last year, what was it, 4-2-3-1, and fair enough. We got second. It weren't enough. We should have won the league. But now, what's he doing now? Putting 3 at the back and then 4 in midfield, and it's a mess. So no, I'm worried. I'm worried about Crystal Palace at home. I think we could get beat.
Because the thing is, Roy knows what he's doing. That's the problem. He's got years and years of experience behind him, and he knows how to set teams up. And he knows how to go away to places and pick up points. And that job at Palace is perfect for him. It's his hometown club.
Yeah.
And it's a club of a size that he feels comfortable working with. And I'm worried about it as well. But hopefully it'll be fine. But I'm not 100% convinced, really, mate. So what do you think we're going to do this season? What would your, at this point in the transfer window, if it all stays as it is, we don't bring anyone else in, where do you think we'll finish, Darren?
Right. Right now, I mean, at the start, before Saturday, I thought we could win the league. I thought we could do something, But look what he's ripped it up. He messes around with the formations, players, and everything. So my guess at the minute, the way things are, because we've got the Champions League as well, and he's useless at multitasking. Arteta, he's not going to deal with that very well. I don't think he knows how to rotate. I'm not happy with people like Kiwior Holding at the club, Zinchenko, and these players are going to be thrown in, and that is going to mean we are going to lose games, So I can see. I think Ramsdale and Raya is a nightmare waiting to happen as well. Ramsdale could well lose his confidence completely and just go to put, and then we'll lose ground on Man City, and not very hopeful at all. I can see us top 5, and we won't win the league. I'd say because you've got Liverpool, I think they're going to do something on the quiet. Chelsea, I'm not worried about. Tottenham, I'm not worried about. Man United, I think, and Newcastle will come before us. So my revised prediction for us this season is probably 4th behind Man City, Newcastle and Man United.
Despite the fact that they got thumped at the weekend by Newcastle, I'm also worried about Villa.
Yeah.
He's picked up a few injuries, I believe.
Yeah,
so
the thing with Emery is he is a good sort of cup manager, but I don't think he's ever going to be a league the manager. I'm not sure about his ability in leagues. Emery. Good cup manager, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, Darren, if you were in charge at Arsenal, they told you, right, we want you to head this operation up. You've got responsibility for everything. If you had the power to change one thing at the club, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to grab the team. You've just got to look at the manager, really, and say, not good enough, goodbye. That's it, you're off. And have a policy in where you look close. Whoever gets brought in to take his place is under no illusion. They ain't got a job for 5 seasons. There is no such thing as a project. It's about today, and it's about this season. What's happening, and if there ain't any progress, it's time to move on. That would be my. And I'll be getting Mr. Arteta in now and saying, well, this is it now. We'll review your job at Christmas, see where you're in. If we're still in the Champions League, if we're still in the League Cup, if we're still in with a shout we're winning the league, yeah, you can stay on. But other than that, if we're out, if we've lost 5 games by January in the league, we're out the League Cup and we're out the Champions League, then bye-bye. Get your bags, go. And we'll get someone else in.
Because I'm concerned about this because for 2 reasons. I'm concerned about him because of all this issue I have with his personality, because I think there's serious issues about his arrogance and how it impacts on him doing his job. But I'm also worried about the way he tends to throw cup competitions in the bin. Do you know what I mean? In pursuit of the league title, and that should not be happening. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it was their choice not to bring players in and strengthen where it needed strengthening. And then there they are saying that they can't cope with all these cup competitions, so they throw them in the bin. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
And I'm worried it's going to happen this year with the Champions League as well. And, we could be, if we're putting a fairly okayish group, that he might just decide to ditch it so that he can concentrate on the league.
Mm.
Yeah,
all day long, just so that he's in the Champions League. Yeah. He knows he ain't going to win it, but just so he's still in it,
Because, the thing is, I think if we're in the Champions League, but we're like going toe-to-toe with City, I could see him ditching the Champions League like he did the Europa League last year. Mm. I could definitely see it happening. But, Darren, I want to play you something, and then I want to get your thoughts about the Emirates Stadium and the club crest. So I'm just going to play this for you. It's Johnny Lydon from the Sex Pistols, right? So
shame, such a lovely team has to play in this environment. It's cold, isn't it? It's impersonal. Now, I grew up on Benwell Road, right, in my early youth, which is the road this site is off of. We had 2 rooms, 6 of us lived there until I was 11, and then we moved to 6 Acres Estate, which is the other side over there, Finsbury Park. At that time, when we were that young, we had no indoor toilet. It was an outdoor loo, open to the public. Now, I never thought that was a bad thing. Nobody around here did, because everybody lived the same way, and it was all right. It's this, from that is a juxtaposition of events, and I don't see the in-between. I don't see the logical progression. I think this is disassociated with what actual real working class people had to grow up with around here. How am I supposed to relate to this? I grew up being an Arsenal supporter since I was 4 years old. I don't gather this one at all. You are my Arsenal, my only Arsenal. You make me happy when skies are blue. You know I love you, I'll always love you. But fucking hell, who took the Arsenal away? No smoking on the premises? Fucking hell, needs torching. That new emblem, right? I'm sorry, I grew up a proper gooner. Look at that plastic fucking cannon made in Italy. It's a joke. That's sad. You have let me down, you fucking bastards. I grew up supporting you, and I get that. The fucking thing's facing the wrong way.
Right. So, Darren, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, you can't really disagree with too much he said there, but and really, sometimes I think, well, the world's changed. I'm old. I've had my time. the youngsters, this is their time now. It's not my time anymore. But really, it's probably what's going wrong with the world. You know, there's people are getting just forgotten about that don't deserve to be forgotten about. So if you live in Highbury, Islington, and you're a supporter, Arsenal's your football club more than it is mine because I live in West London. There should be some sort of pecking order as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know they've promoted the global brand and business and all the rest of it, and that's where it's all wrong. You know, if you want to help other countries, let's go and help them build their own stadium and get their own team in their country. Perhaps we should be doing that. Do you know what I mean? And I welcome everybody. You know, I'd never disclude anybody, no matter where they come from. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at, you know, your own neighbourhood, and you've got to look after yourself and teach people to look after themselves. There's a saying that if you give someone a fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach them to fish, you feed them for life. And I wholly subscribe to that. You know, there's got to be some sort of, let's promote Arsenal. Perhaps there could be an Arsenal football club in a country abroad that plays, and it's Arsenal wherever, Asia, Arsenal or something. Do you know what I mean? So them fans then get to go to all the games in the Arsenal version in that country. Yeah, maybe that's an idea, because now if you want to go to every game, you can't go to every game because there's a ballot, and if you don't get drawn out in the ballot, that's it. We've gone in all these ballots, the silver members this season. We've got one game so far. We've entered every one game. We would want to go to every game. We can't. Unless you get a season ticket.
Yeah.
But then the season ticket's a lot more money.
Yeah.
You know, can you afford it? Nah.
This thing about the ballot, I just think it's, how can I put it? I just think it's a mechanism that a club are using to get a certain profile of fan inside the stadium. Right? Because I remember I helped Del Boy do a show about the madness that had gone on in Irish football, right? About this fella they had there who was heading up their commercial activities and whatnot, right? And how he messed it all up and like wasted loads of money. And there was loads of dissenting voices, and then he employed loads of people with drums and whatnot to get inside the ground to drown out the dissenting voices. And then I remember when I was doing it, I was thinking, fucking hell, it sounds like the sort of thing Arsenal would do. Do you know what I mean? And then when I saw this stuff about the ballot, I was just thinking, well, what's to stop them, like, doctoring it and, like, saying, yeah, this fella, no, if it came out and there was people they know of who are really, pro Arteta, and ones that are like you and me who are like against the regime. I just think that if we went in one of those ballots, it wouldn't matter if we get pulled out or not. We wouldn't get the ticket.
Well, you got to ask yourself, what do they call themselves? The ultras. How do they all get the seats in the same place in the same ground?
Exactly. And this is my whole point. I just think it's easy for them to like manipulate who gets the tickets. I'm not saying that's for 1 minute that is what they're doing, but I'm saying it's a lot easier for them to do it with a ballot than it is if people are ringing up and they're first come, first serve, which is what I think was going on before from what people have told me. Do you know what I mean? So I don't like this idea of the ballot at all. But sorry, Darren, what was you saying?
No,
you were going on about like the difference between the Emirates and Highbury, and like about global supporters and the badges and what. Because I can't stand that bloody badge.
No.
I can't. It's like that badge that we had before with the Invicta Concordia Crescent on it. I love that badge.
Yeah, I mean, why? It's like they've done that deliberately to sort of say, well, we're changing it all now, and you know, that's it, you know.
So I just think it's slowly like eradicating away all the things, the pillars of the old club, of the club, like prior to 90 or 2, or when that new crest came in, because they got this anthem that he's sing before the game now, North London Forever or whatever it is. What happened to good old Arsenal?
Yeah, exactly. I can't identify with it.
I mean, no, that new song, it doesn't mention Arsenal once.
No.
Right? Whereas that good old Arsenal, that was the club anthem.
Yeah.
So why do we need to invent a new one when we've got one already? And we have done for donkeys. Can you imagine the stink there would be if Liverpool came out and said, yeah, we're ditching You'll Never Walk Alone and we're having it? Can you imagine?
Wouldn't happen, would it?
No, they wouldn't have it.
No.
And this is what I think part of the problem is. Our fans are too meek, and they're not willing to like hold the club to account and won't, you know, you kick off. But yeah, I'm going to shut up and let you talk. Sorry, Darren.
No, that's all right. No, I mean, I think it's a case where I think when we went from Highbury to the Emirates, a lot of fans I hear say, I'll never go to the Emirates, and they've never been in there. And I think a lot of them fans drifted away, and a lot of them fans were older school fans with different values. Now, the new people, I'm disappointed in because they're not showing the same realistic expectations. They're almost like the good loser crowd where, oh, well, as long as we try, and, oh, well, we go again. You know, if we lose, we go again. Don't be nasty to the manager. Don't, you know, say anything negative. But that's not going to get you change. You know, you've got to be able to voice your opinions. And the other thing is, I think the owners are on the other side of the world, and just as long as the gate money and the TV money and the shirt money and the sponsor money is coming in, that's it. You know, as long as that comes in, I don't think winning is really on their agenda. Really, it's probably down on their priorities. If we won and lost money through shirt sales, that I don't think they'd be very happy about it. If we won trophies but then didn't sell as many shirts or gain as much money through the sponsorship, you know, it's the money for them. That's what it's all about. And what that clip you've just played there from John Lydon, you know, it's you can't really identify the two. You can't match the two stadiums up. They're two different places. Highbury was tradition and history, and the Emirates is just it's just like a plastic sort of environment. I mean, I like the ground. I don't dislike the ground. I like the ground, but it ain't been done properly. Could have been done properly. You could have put history into the Emirates. You could have made it more respectful and more welcoming to fans that are there to support the club and the team. But you're bringing in a tourist attraction. Is what we said early on in this stream. And that's what it is, unfortunately. It is a tourist attraction. I don't really like corporate. I'm not really a corporate person. I think there's a little bit of, not shadiness to it, but I just don't think it looks right. I'll give you an example. We played Aston Villa last season, and it was on BT Sport. And before the game started, they had the video panned into the corporate area, and you had a couple of blokes about our age, maybe a bit younger, sitting opposite each other, and then you had a girl who was looked about 17 with like a silver sort of tray there, looking at them like this. What's all that about at football? Where does that belong at football? Yeah, that belongs at Green Park, at the Ritz, or somewhere like that. To me, that does not belong in a football ground. Yeah, you've got a 17 or 18-year-old girl who's probably earning a bit of money for university. Fair enough. That's fine. Not got a problem with it. But then you've got a couple of middle-aged geezers there sitting at the table, and she's looking at them. They're looking at each other, not really looking at her or at all. She's standing there, not knowing what to say next. Probably bored. Probably thinking, well, what am I doing here? I'm just here for money and to serve you some food and drink. I'm your slave for the day because you've paid, I don't know, £1,000 each. Come and sit in a box and watch the game that's you're locked away from all the crowd and everything. I don't like it, mate. I don't.
No, I don't. And for me, it's all fake.
Yeah.
It's fake.
It is,
it's real. It's imitation of something that was once great and is now struggling to get up back to the levels it.
Yeah. And that's football. And we all know before that day was here in the games, right, those two men would have been turning up through a turnstile ticket or paying your money, and they might buy a hot dog or something, and they would be engaging and, oh, hello, young lady, right, I'll have a couple of burgers, how are you, blah, 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 blah. Bit of interaction, bit of friendly conversation. But, you're looking at that, just thinking, it just don't look right. It just looks odd. I'll have to choose my words carefully. I better leave it there.
Sounds like theaterisation of football.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that, if you go to the theatre and you've got a private box at the theatre up in the gods, you're sitting there. No one else can get in there except for the people that are in the box with you. And you can get drinks delivered in, the snacks and whatnot delivered into the box and whatnot. And it's a sanitised viewing experience.
Yeah.
And for me, what it is, this is all about the Conkeys wanting to make money off the back of the Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with making the club successful. I don't think they really care whether the club is successful or not.
No, not at all.
Like what's success for them is what's on the balance sheet at the end of each month.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for me, I find it distasteful.
Definitely.
100%. And the way that I've seen the club eroded, the values of the club, the culture, the ethos of it, the badge, the ground. I've been to that ground, new ground, 3 times, Darren. 4 times. Once for a league game, once for a Champions League game, and twice for an Emirates Cup things. And I don't like it. I don't. And I agree with you. It's a lovely looking stadium. It looks absolutely superb. It could be a lot better. You summed it up perfectly, the way you said that it could be, but for me, it ain't. They just messed it up, and I get very disappointed about it all.
Yeah.
Because it's not the club that I grew up watching when I was a kid.
No, and I appreciate there's got to be some sort of change and, things move. And I appreciate they've got to make money at the end of the day. Yeah. I don't mind. But it's gross, isn't it? It's gross, really, how it's all
Exactly.
I've got to shoot, mate.
All right, but listen, Darren, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me on.
Hey?
thanks for having me on. Yeah,
No, it was an absolute pleasure. I enjoyed every minute of it, and we'll do something else again very soon, mate.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Darren. I'll speak to you soon, buddy.
Take care, mate.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
mate. Bye.
Right, okay, guys, please don't forget, make sure you go and follow Darren on Instagram. His username or handle or whatever you want to call it on Instagram is Darren Sullivan 49. And on there, he does loads of really, really cool stuff. Talking about Arsenal mostly. There's a few other bits and bobs on there as well, but it's mostly about Arsenal. And yeah, it's fascinating. And he comes out with some absolute corking videos. He really does. And he talks 100%. He talks the truth 100% all the time about Arsenal and what's going on. And yeah, I love it. I thoroughly recommend it. And the fella knows what he's talking about. And as you've seen, he's been following the club for many a year. So make sure you go and give him some love and support. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
It's a shame. Mate, it's not. I've never seen it before.
You know what they say? Some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. And always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the right side of life. For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face the curtain with a bow. Forget about your scene, give the audience a grin. Enjoy it, it's your last chance anyhow. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's a joke, it's true. You'll see it's all a show, keep 'em laughing as you go. Just remember that the last laugh is on you. And always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Come on, Brian, get up. Always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Worst things happen to see, you know. Always look on the right side of life. What you got to lose, you know? You come from nothing, you go back to nothing. What you lost? Always look on the right side of life. Nothing will come from nothing, you know what